Hi, welcome to all. The basic concepts are dealt in this particular video. Um, already in the previous video, we have seen about the basic concept set 1. In that, we discussed on the term called as IT resource, virtualization, scaling, etc. In this video, we'll discuss on the other remaining fundamental terms. The first term in this set is cloud. Okay, so cloud, as you all know, it is a distinct and a remote IT environment designed specifically for remotely provisioning scalable and measured resource. Consumer may or may not know the exact physical location of the IT resources provided by a cloud. So, although a cloud will commonly be based on web protocols and technology, it is not necessary for a cloud to be a web based. So, when you look at the term cloud, not every IT resource resides inside a cloud. It needs to be made directly available to consumers. So, a cloud based IT resource can be remotely accessed or it can support the remote access of other cloud based IT resource. So, whenever we discuss on the IT resource and whenever it is made available to external consumer, it is accessible as a cloud service. So this particular example has got a cloud with a hosting of 8 IT resources, where there are 3 virtual servers, 2 cloud services, and 3 cloud storages. We'll go move on to the next term called as on premises. So this on premises, the term on premises is used to qualify an IT resource that is not remotely accessible via a cloud, but instead resides within an internal IT enterprise environment. So it is important to note that if very often cloud-based IT resources are invoked by or communicate with on-premise IT resources. So, for example, IT resource may be moved from an on-premise environment to a cloud or vice versa. So, on-premise is going to be a term where an IT resource is not remotely accessible, but instead it is within the IT enterprise environment. So this particular picture just clearly represents the on-premise cloud moving into a remotely accessible cloud. So I think the term called as on-premise to cloud would be very much understood by you people. Now the next term is called services. You need to understand about the service contract, service consumer, service composition. So, from an implementation perspective, a service is nothing but a software program that can be remotely invoked via a published technical interface or IP interface API. So, you normally tell it as a service contract. And the term called as service consumer, it is nothing but a software program that invokes and interacts with the service. So you name it as service consumer. Service composition is described as when two or more services participate to complete a given task, the service you normally designate as a service composition. So, a service can reside on premise or in a cloud. In the later case, it's further qualified as a cloud service. So, what is a cloud service? See, the term service, as you all understood in the previous slide, the term service within the context of cloud computing is very broad. So, from a cloud computing perspective, any remotely accessible IT resource is classified as a service. So, a cloud service can therefore be considered an IT resource made remotely accessible via a cloud. See, you already know the term called as cloud. You already know the term called as service. Now, this cloud service is nothing but an IT resource that is made remotely accessible via a cloud. Note that even though a cloud service exists as an IT resource, it may provide access to other cloud based IT resources. Note that a cloud service can exist as a software program that acts as an endpoint or access point to a larger application or a platform or an environment. So, from a consumer perspective, a larger application, a platform, or environment itself may be considered the service. So, a cloud service can exist as a traditional service. Traditional service, or it could be a service that could be a remotely accessible. So, a traditional service is accessed via a published contract and a messaging that is very much clear in the diagram that is shown in the left bottom corner. See, we remotely access the web services that acts as a cloud service. Okay, so on the right hand side, we have a cloud service where it is remotely accessed via other means. So, so any software program that is remotely accessed via other means, we normally tell it as, it is privately accessible. So, any such communicating with the software on a service using a proprietary protocol. So the next term called as service agent. So a service agent is an event-driven program capable of transparently intercepting and processing messages sent to or from services. So depending on the development platform you're working with, service agents may be called filters, listeners, interceptors, handlers, etc. So most modern runtime environments provide a set of system service agents, but service agents can also be custom developed. So you normally talk in terms of service agents to be filters, listeners, or interceptors or handlers that serve some purpose. That is, they transparently intercept or process message among the services. So they are normally termed as service agent. So service agents do not have a technical interface or service contract and are therefore not explicitly involved. So service agents are depicted using a rectangular block symbol. The rectangular block symbols are being represented in the picture that is being described on the right side. Okay, so that is service agents are being represented that way. So a common functions performed by any service agents include routing, logging, validations, and security related processing. See, the service agents are nothing but agents that do services to the IT resources. Okay, so what are all the services that are being provided by these agents are they normally process the messages among the IT resources. What they process are they help in routing, they help in logging in, they do some kind of validations, and they do process for some security aspects. So service agents are important to cloud computing, especially for providing runtime monitoring and load balancing functions. See, for in cloud computing, or when you have a cloud IT environment, there are these service agents provide an extensive support to monitor the devices in the IT environment during runtime, and they also help in load balancing functions. So this is about service agent. So in this particular video, we have seen about the four terms that are used in cloud computing. That is, number one is cloud, number two is on-premise cloud, number three is cloud services, number four is service agents. So all these terms you need to have an understanding before we move on to the technological or techniques related to cloud computing. So I think this video would help you to understand the basic concepts and terminologies used in cloud. Uh, anyway, thank you for listening patiently. Thank you all. We'll meet in the next slide. Thank you.